Hi, my name is Kara Richards, and I'm in Arvada, Colorado. And this is my partner, Michelle Halvorson.
Hi.
This is my nephew, Chris, my cousin and editor, Alex, or Alexandria, and my mom, LeAnn. The Many Faces of Autism is kind of a core group that is, we're writing a book, but it's more than that. The book kind of started with a need, and the need was we have 2 children that are autistic. And I have read many books, and I take this much from each book. And then through critical thinking, I reinvent it so that it can work with my children. So the need that I found was autism spectrum disorder. It's a spectrum, and we need a spectrum of advice. As I got into it further and we dealt with professionals like speech and OT and PT, I quickly realized that they're going, hey, we're using every tool in our bag, but it's not working with your children. And I would say, okay, what is the function? Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? And then I would say, well, they love this. They're open to doing this. Let's utilize this. And for example, I will say, Heather has gross motor skill issues. So when she was little, of course she's autistic, so she doesn't want to pay attention. She's in her own world, doing her own thing. And they're like, we have to get her to jump. We have to get her to move. We need to build those muscles up. I said, well, you just need her to move. How about skates? And she's going, oh, we've used roller skates before. That could work. I said, she loves her roller skates. I can have her wear them all the time around the house. So that quickly became like, you know, the precedent to everything else. It was like the professionals were coming to me saying, hey, we're having problems, you know, helping your children, and I would use their tools and come up with a solution that would best help them. So I quickly realized that the parents, the caregivers, the people that are there 24 hours a day with these kids really are the experts. And also teaching parents and teachers and professionals that we have to think outside of the box, because the box does not work for these children. So that's kind of where this all started and I kind of sat around and went, well, somebody's going to write this someday. You know, I'm busy. I have 5 children and 2 of them are autistic, or at the time I had 4 children and 2 were autistic. I was like, I'll just wait until somebody writes the book, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, and I met more and more people, and I found that I was giving advice to people that had children that were much older than mine were, and they were going, I never thought of that before. And I said, okay, I have to write the book. One of the things that we talk about in the book is the 5 stages of grief. Because even though your child is still there and still alive, you're grieving that idea of the child. And I've lost my first husband. I've lost 2 very important father figures in my life. And I will be honest, losing them was not as hard as going through this. Because when you lose somebody, you're so sad that they're not there with you. But when you have somebody that is there with you, you can each new hurdle, each new step, you go through the 5 stages of grief. Because you were always hopeful, well, maybe they can do this. You know, I know that they may not be able to do this. We always have that hope in the back of our mind, but you are constantly going through the 5 stages of grief. And a lot of parents that I have talked to, especially with lower functioning children, are really stuck in anger. I mean, they cycle through all of it, but they get back to that angry, you know, just because they're frustrated. They're just so frustrated. What can we do? One of my colleagues, Betty Lehman, has a low-functioning autistic son. I would say he's now mid-functioning because she has done tremendous things with her son. One of the things that really opened my eyes is when she said, doctors can diagnose, they can prescribe, and they can do surgery. Autism doesn't fall in much of any of that. They do the diagnosis and then they have nothing for us. You know, and she goes, my doctor hates it when I come in. Doctors hate to see us because they can't do anything for us. That was such an eye-opener to me. I went, that's why you get nothing. That's why these parents that are going in and saying, how can you help me? They have nothing to give you.
At first I thought it was just, okay, this is interesting. And I know some people, you know, my boyfriend has a son who's, you know, severe to moderate needs son. My best friend was working with his nephew who is severe to moderate needs autism. And I was like, well, here's how I can help you. These are the two people I know besides you. And that's what I did. And I ran the spell check.
Oh, she did more than run spell check.
Yeah.
She is an amazing editor, and she is downplaying what she does.
When I first started getting with Kara on the book was earlier this year when she wanted to go out and she wanted people to hear about her book, and we went to an Autism Speaks convention for a fundraiser that they were running. And she spread the word and she talked to a lot of people, and it really inspired her to go out and continue doing what she was doing, and she wanted to write more and more to help all these people who just don't know what's going on. Even the people at this convention who work for the convention and work for everybody with autism, kids, and all sorts of stuff. They don't know what happens. You know, a lot of times it's very different for each kid, and they don't understand all these differences, and they haven't seen it. And that was really an eye-opener, because first I saw, you know, my cousins, and, you know, they're two different ways they act. And then I go to this convention and I see other autistic kids, and it's just thousands and thousands of different things that it's like, wow, I would have never expected that. And then later this year, we got to talking, and I redid a webpage for her, and I went through and I designed her webpage with the help of Chris Raby. And from there on, I've helped her out with talking to people and helping her around the house and helping her, like, stay focused on her book.
I don't know if you've ever had those moments of when somebody says something to you, it's almost like a gong sounds or a bell rings, or there's a clarity of it. And when Kara kind of approached me and she said, this is what I want to do, there was that moment of just do it, because it is so clear.
Every parent, every caregiver of an autistic child is amazing, because the trials that we go through, regardless if they're high functioning or low functioning, no human being, you just don't, you have no idea. And then you find something that works, and insurance doesn't cover it, but you know it'll work. So you scrape your money together and you try it, and you hear of something and you hope it'll work, and you scrape your money and you try it and it doesn't. Or you sit back because you have no money to scrape together. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this, because 50% of my profits go back to autism groups. You know, these people are helping me write it, and these people deserve the help back. My son is the reason why I'm writing this book, and my family, you know? And for me, the more information I can gather is so selfish, but the more things that I can try for my son, which is the same reason why I'm writing the book, so that I can give that to other parents too. I am here to make a difference. I am here to take the money that I get from this and say, if you need horse therapy, if you want a service dog and you can't afford it, you want to try a hyperbaric chamber, which is amazing results. People don't even know that. Hyperbaric chamber, amazing results in autistic kids. If you want to try that, guess what? One of the things I want to do is set up a hyperbaric chamber in every state that you donate what you can donate. You know, if it's $1, if it's a penny, I don't care. But then you can have that service, because they're like, what, $250 for an hour? So there are so many things out there that I just want to share. And it started because of Evan.